The ACN Drive's remote keypad has a lot of really cool extra features that aren't available on the Drive's LED keypad. But that also means it operates a little differently. In this video, we'll learn how to use it, take a quick spin through all those extra features, and point out a couple caveats you need to be aware of. Here we go. To use the remote keypad, just grab any Cat5 Ethernet patch cable and plug one end into the Drive's RJ45 port, that's a serial port, not an Ethernet port, and the other end into the keypad. Now this is important. The keypad talks to the Drive over RS-232, not RS-45, which means you need to be real careful about noise. While RS-232 is supposed to be good for cable lengths up to around 50 feet, it's recommended that you keep this cable length below around 10 feet. Why? Because you're using it near one of the most electrically noisy pieces of equipment in your factory, the Drive. Also, be sure to use a shielded cable and keep the cable as far away as you can from any possible noise sources, especially the motor power cables. On the Drive's keypad, you can monitor one item. On the remote keypad, you can monitor 3 items at the same time. In this example, we're monitoring frequency, current, and voltage. Hit the forward button to run in a forward direction. His LED lights up. Reverse for the reverse direction. The LED blinks while in transition and goes solid when the target speed is reached. Hit stop, and when the motor reaches a full stop, we see the red LED light up. This bar over here is the cursor, which is telling me hitting enter will allow me to change the frequency using the up and down and left and right arrow keys. Hit enter again to accept it. Notice that you just hit enter once. On the Drive's keypad, you have to enter twice. I can cursor down to the current voltage, but there's nothing to change there, they're read-only. If I hit the right or left arrow, it reminds me what I'm looking at. This stuff up top is always available. This is the mode I'm in. Right now, I'm monitoring the Drive status. Pressing the mode button changes the mode to parameter entry, and I'm now looking at the Drive parameters, which is spelled out for me in full text. No more guessing what each one is. And just like the Drive keypad, I can left and right arrow through the various groups, and up and down arrow to scroll through the parameters. Hit enter to edit the parameter. Now I love this. I see everything I need to know about the parameter. The parameter number, name, value to edit, allowable range, the default value, and the current value. Left, right, and up, down arrows to change the value, and enter to accept. Again, only one enter is required where the Drive keypad requires 2. If I go to the frequency source and hit enter, instead of range and current values, I see all of my options spelled out in plain text. Again, I don't have to remember which number goes with which option. Enter to accept, or escape to exit and ignore the changes. I'll hit escape a couple more times to get back to the top level. I'll press the mode key, I see the parameter entry mode again, and press the mode key again, and we're now in configuration mode. Here we can see and change the language, LCD contrast, keypad ID, and view the version info. This anytime parameter is this guy. He's available at any time in any menu. Right now, it's showing the frequency, but if I enter it, we see there's lots of things you can put there. Let's show the output current. And I especially like that the units show up automatically with it. Monitor line 1, 2, and 3 are where you select what shows up in the main display. These guys. Again, there are lots of things you can display on those 3 lines. Monitor mode init resets those LCD monitor items to their defaults. Options shows you what option modules are currently plugged into any possible option card slots on the Drive. This Drive only has one option slot, so the other 2 don't really apply. Parameter init is the same factory reset that we've used in the other videos, where you can reset all the parameters or just an individual group. Enabling this guy only shows parameters that have changed on the LCD display. That's a quick way to get a concise list of anything that's changed in a Drive. Of course, that's even easier to see in the free VFD Suite configuration software, but when you don't have that handy, this is the next best thing. This configures the multi-key on the keypad. You can use it for jog, switching between local and remote, going straight to your custom user group or parameters, or you can configure one remote keypad to control multiple Drives on the same RS-45 network. The symbol up here tells us what the multifunction key is. Right now, it's not defined. But if we change that to jog, for example, we see this changes to a J. And when the jog is active, it inverts. Macro Select is used when setting up user macros. You can clear all trip alarm history and delete user-defined parameter groups. Parameter Read, Write, and Save allow you to read all the parameters from the drive into the keypad and then take that keypad to another drive where you can then write the parameters back out. It's an awesome way to back up your parameters and to quickly configure multiple drives. I'll read this drive's parameters. You see the little progress bar. We'll wait for that to complete. And the parameters are now permanently in the keypad. I can remove power from the keypad and it'll still be there. You can now take this keypad to another drive and select Write to fully configure that drive. Give it a few seconds and we're done. Now this is an important concept to understand. When the parameters are changed via comms, they only get written to RAM. They don't get written to EEPROM to prevent comms from using up the limited number of writes. Comms can then write a 1 to configuration register 48 to move those parameters into the EEPROM. This save option does the same thing. It moves parameters from RAM to the EEPROM for permanent storage. These view lock options allow you to decide which things are visible on the keypad and to set up the password to unlock it. The key lock does the same thing except for the keypad. Add Title Updates is used to update the text titles on the keypad when a drive firmware gets updated. This Easy Start is a mini parameter wizard that helps you get up and running quickly. Just turn it on and then go back to parameter 40 and reset the drive to factory default. Now when you power cycle the drive, it puts you in the Easy Start mode. We do want Easy Start, English language. This is the motor we're using. Number of poles. I'm using a 230 volt motor, 60 Hertz, 220 volt input. I want to command from the keypad, run my motor at 30 Hertz, and I'm done. I've now done everything I need to do to get my motor spinning. How cool is that? That's a great way to get up and running quickly, or just to get a clean start when you're having issues. Let me get back to configuration mode, and instead of scrolling to parameter 61 where we left off, let's use the jump code, which is always parameter 0 in any parameter group. Enter a 61, and it jumps right to that parameter. You can clear the total accumulated electric energy consumption, which is one of the things you can show on the LCD display. This on time of the drive tells you the total time the drive is spent powered up. You can see I'm using a fairly new drive. And runtime is the amount of time the drive has had the output on. Again, I haven't used this drive much at all, just a few hours. Time reset resets both of those, the supply time and the output time. You can see how many hours the drive's main cooling fan has been used, and you can reset that number after you've replaced the fan. You can also see and reset the CPU fan time. And we're back to the start, so I'll hit escape a few times to get back to the top level. Well, that should give you a pretty good idea of what you can do with the external keypad. But there are a couple things you need to be aware of. We saw that the external keypad uses the RJ45 RS-232 port on a drive. Well, that means you can't plug the configuration cable in and connect to the VFD Suite software, at least not with RS-232. The good news is you can connect via RS-45. I like to use this USB to 45 converter. I just connect the provided Flying Lead cable's green wire to S- and a red wire to S+. Then in the VFD Suite software, before hitting connect, I go to Settings and select the COM port the USB to 45 converter is plugged into. And this is important. You have to set this to 9600 baud. It defaults to something else, so don't assume it's already set. Well, given that, I can now connect to the drive and use both the free VFD Suite software and the remote keypad at the same time. Cool. The other thing to be aware of is that to control the drive from any keypad, the drive's keypad or the remote keypad, the drive has to be configured to use a keypad as the command source. You can quickly tell what the command source is here. This reminds me that the drive is expecting the commands from the keypad. This one does the same thing except for the frequency source, and it's using the keypad right now. So when things don't seem to be working, keep an eye on these guys. It's a great way to quickly see how the drive controls are configured. And finally, this field tells you what the drive status is. Well, that ought to be more than enough to get you started with the remote keypad. Click here to learn more about the ACN family of drives. Click here to learn about Automation Direct's free award-winning support options, and click here to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll be notified when we publish new videos.